Welcome one and all to the show. Wired up, fired up, ready to go. BlueTruth, New York Rangers talk with myself, Brian Attard, powered by the Sports Box. Like and follow Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for those of you who have joined tonight's emergency bonus live stream, and you know why. We're going to get to it in just a minute or two. If you're watching the YouTube replay, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Maybe you'll join the live stream one of these nights. Today is February the 28th, and this is BlueTruth's second consecutive unplanned bonus emergency episode. And that's because the Rangers just keep dropping these major trades. And, you know, some were a surprise and others, you know, they take like about a week to really figure it out. But the Rangers have once again changed the face of this franchise with a trade. The New York Rangers finally have acquired Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks at 8 p.m. this evening. The Rangers officially confirmed what anybody who was paying any attention at all has known for the better part of a week. They had traded for Kane in a bit of an unexpected move that became a week-long ordeal and dance with the salary cap and who was being sent down and who was being called up and who was getting traded and who was getting cut and who was sitting on the bench and not skating because they couldn't risk getting hurt and everything else. It's finally done. Patrick Kane, the first overall pick in the 2008 draft, a three-time Stanley Cup champion, is finally a New York Ranger. I have so many comments to get to that I want to get to, so I'm going to hit that now. Frankie, we got Kane, Brett Anderson, Showtime, Devils fan Ray Leo. Brother, I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a good day too for different reasons, because you're probably not having a good day as me for these reasons. Bob, this should be fun. Bob, how are you? My buddy Mike Faris, let's go Rangers, drop the puck. It's a new name, Jan, one of my favorite players. Joe Garcia, is it Thursday yet? Tarasenko and Kane. I know Peter's smiling from ear to ear. Bill Jansen, who very nice. He reached out to me and asked when the show was because he appreciates, and I appreciate hearing from you guys. So yeah, it's going to be fun for sure. Frankie, your shout outs right here. I'm getting to everyone. I promise. There's a lot to go over tonight. Everybody's thrilled. Everybody's happy. That's going to be what really we're going to be talking about tonight because there's a lot there. Frankie Gallo, yeah, baby. Kana, I'm happy that we traded basically nothing for him, but I still have to understand what he brings that we don't get with Tarasenko. Listen, we're going to talk it through. We have much to talk about tonight. Wonderful night in Rangerland. Setting records, actually. I'm seeing a lot of people viewing the show. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate that. I'm just going to put my little plug up here. If you are watching, thank you. Hit that like button. It does wonders for the show. And I appreciate you guys taking time to basically celebrate the news with us tonight. The news of Patrick Kane coming to the Rangers. Bob Scatini, let's go. There's John. There he is. John, I couldn't tag you. I tried. Things go so quickly when you're trying to do all this. Oh, we stole him. Greg Romano, exciting day. Mark Brown, who I know, Mark Brown is a very vocal critic of giving up, picks and kids. And, listen, it seems like Mark's on board since Jury's a genius. Listen, there's so much to talk about tonight. And this is going to be fun. These are the best shows to do because it's great. Everybody's happy. Not a lot to be upset about. Yeah, we're not going to spit at each other. That's its own issue. Neither here nor there. Let's get to the trade terms. So, you may have heard of Patrick Kane. He is now a New York Ranger. They acquire him from the Blackhawks for a conditional 2023 second-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. Actually, I had to update that. Additionally, there were some minor leaguers going back and forth. Didn't really matter. If the Rangers do advance to the conference finals this year, that 2023 second becomes a 2024 top 10 protected first-round pick. If the Rangers pick ends up in the top 10 next year, I mean, that's going to happen, but let's just say it does. Everybody gets hurt. Then the Rangers give an unprotected first rounder in 2025. I feel like we just did this for Tarasenko, but on February 2nd, BlueTruth said that the Rangers needed a top 6 right winger, maybe 2 if it worked out, and a third pair left defenseman. Mission accomplished and then some, right? As we sit here on February 28th, 3 full days before the deadline, the New York Rangers have checked off everything on the shopping list and maybe even got some extra dessert that you weren't really expecting. John, we got him for nothing. Jury's been great. I'm surprised how good he's been. Mark Brown said, I was no on Kane from the beginning, which he was. Look, like Mark's telling you, I know he was, because him and I debated this cordially. No, we're on the same side. No-brainer deal. I have to like it. Ray says, while Kane is great, did it really address their needs, especially defensively? Let's talk about that. You know where my head's at, Ray. We're going to talk about that. But as we sit here 3 days before the deadline, mission accomplished, right? They got not 1, but 2 top 6 right wingers in Vladimir Tarasenko and Patrick Kane. They brought back Tyler Mott to solidify their 4th line, give them another penalty-killing option for the postseason. And they addressed that third defenseman on the third pairing defenseman with Nico Mikkola, be a physical presence. Big ups to Chris Drury, who addressed and filled every hole this roster had and didn't create any new ones in the process. Not short-term ones and not long-term ones. Thinking back to the start of the year, when we talked about the roster and the moves that they were likely to make, and many of us naturally, I know Mark Brown clearly also is in that camp, had an apprehension about what it would cost. Would the Rangers, coming off of a conference finals appearance, however unlikely it may have been last year, they did. Would they sacrifice young roster players, higher end prospects in an effort to go for it this year? Capo Caco is still here. Alexi Lafreniere is still here. Braden Schneider is still here. Brennan Othman is still here. Will Cooley is still here. Hell, even Zach Jones is still here. Now, Vitaly Kravtsov is not. But, you can't win them all. And both sides of that equation are at fault. And I think that, when we separate ourselves from what it was, look, Kravtsov refused to go down to Hartford. Should have been in Hartford the last 2 years. He could still be a player. It was never going to be here. And I think that after last year, when he just left and went back to Russia, you kind of saw the writing on the wall that it was just never going to work out here. The fact that it even lasted this long, I think, is kind of a miracle. But, and I can see the comments coming in, Brett Anderson makes the point. Our first round pick is still here. Still a pick in this first round. For all of these additions, and I know you guys see it too. I see so many, frankly, and there's really no nice way to say this. So many of the uninformed, frankly, on Facebook and Twitter saying that, they mortgaged the future. And what future did they mortgage? A couple picks? I mean, how many times are we going to have to talk about the idea of the size of the roster and the space and how not everybody's going to be able to play here? If you feel that what the Rangers did this month was mortgaging the future, then with all due respect, you don't have a clue what mortgaging the future means. The Rangers sent out a first-round pick in a draft in which they had 2 of them, and a conditional second-round pick, which could be a first-round pick next year or the year after if they get to the 3rd round. To add the talent that they have added, to take this shot this year. In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. All those names I listed are still on this roster, still in this organization. So, again, we've said on the show for months, the salary cap is going to impact this team. And I think come January, they realize that with Heedle catching fire and Lafreniere playing better, now Kako, they need to try their best to make a run before the salary cap costs them a player or two that they would not like to lose, and especially before Father Time catches up to number 10, number 20, and number 93, who, thank God, did not break his ankle Sunday, because whatever the hockey version is of like seeing your life flash before your eyes, I thought the season was over right then and there. There are three guys this team can't afford to lose: the goaltender, the star defenseman, and the number one center. They're the three guys this team cannot afford to lose. And one of them I thought was done. Just done. And at that point, it's over. I can't even be mad. I'll just be disappointed because I expect nothing if they lose to manage that. But they're going for it. Can you fault them for that? I don't think you can. And I don't think that the price they paid to take this shot was in any way, shape, or form prohibitive. They gave up a 1 in a draft where they had 2 of them, the worst, by the way, of the 2. And if things break their way, a 1 in the next 2 years. Guys, you can't. How can you be mad at that? I don't know how you can be mad at that. Comments coming in. Chad Roberts, let's go Rangers. Yeah, brother. Absolutely. Frankie, we're going to get to the lines in just a second. You know where my head's at. You watch this show. Joey, overall chemistry he has with Panarin. That second line is going to be insane with Hot Trocheck has been. John Perry, let's go Rangers. Let's go boys. Love the way Kane plays. Frankie, Kane really made it happen by giving Chicago no other choice but let him go to the team of his choice. The no movement clause is important. And there's a couple of Rangers who have no movement clauses. Tim Gettinger and Ryan Carpenter are still here. Couldn't even get rid of them. Chicago couldn't even get that warm body out of this deal. Brett, that's just bananas. John, the trickle-down effect from the Kane trade, people don't understand. Tarasenko has all the pressure off him. Now they can just play. Kane's going to want to make his mark. Frankie, a big fan of Kravtsov being gone. Robert Scatini, brother, who's always here, who I appreciate very much. Tell me the start of the year, you get him for a 2, 3, and a 4. You're high. It's peanuts. It's peanuts. And if you're Chicago, you're mad. But you had no choice. Bob, Kane is all business on the ice as well. Smart as hell, will help a lot on the bench. Planning, thinking, talking experience as a 3-time Cup winner. Goes so far to help. Anthony Formosa, imagine if in 94, if Neil Smith kept Amante Waite and Marchand. Drury is as frugal as a gypsy. Listen, to that point, people were upset about the Tyler Mott trade. Oh my God, they gave up Julian Gauthier. And they guys, I mean, like, really? I know it's nobody to watch this show, but I'm like, what would Facebook have been like when the Rangers traded Tony Amante for Brian Noonan and Stefan Matteau? People are mad about Gauthier. Julian Gauthier. Val, new name to the show. Welcome, sir. Kane was stolen. Rangers' best playmaker. They now have not top 6 forwards, but top 9. Hoping for the Leafs, but the Rangers made a great move. Connor knows. 2 to 3 year window. That's exactly right. That's how I feel. They got to take their shot while they can. Bill Jansen. Drury might hit the jackpot if it works. A lot of talent, going to be fun together to watch them play fast and score. Salvatore, you mentioned all the future players, and they're all here. Do you really need to worry about a 2025 first round pick when that's the roster that you have and the system that you have? Like, really? Rangers didn't mortgage anything. Yes. Jimmy Tolkien, what a time to be alive. Jimmy and I go back and forth. We have a very strong meme trade on Facebook Messenger. Always love seeing messages from him. He's the man. Mortgaging the future, not at all at that price tag for an obvious rental. Tarasenko was worth his tag. The value was for both was great. From a Ducks fan, I love what the Ducks are doing, by the way. Give them like 3 years. When the Rangers start to kind of like fall off, I love what the Ducks are doing. Love what the Ducks are doing. Absolutely. Panarin's thrilled. Panarin's thrilled. Jimmy, former number 1 pick, come here for a used goal net and a bucket of pucks. You love to see it. Anthony Formosa, BlueTruth was all over it from the beginning. Great job. Well, we'll talk about Kane here in just a minute, but again, as we said, this wasn't going to cost that much. All these people that were sort of listing up, running off these names of valuable assets. It's not. Nope. Don't see it. Ralph Lazaro, new name, gives the Rangers 4 good lines. Can't complain about that. Man, there's comments coming in, guys. I love the interaction here. John Matfield, I thought for sure Kane will play tomorrow night. Now, I'm going to the game in Philly tomorrow night. It's only half hour for me. I'm also going to the game Thursday, so I'm good regardless. But yes, he is not playing tomorrow. Schneider brought back up. I think they'll probably go with 5 defensemen. I wouldn't be surprised if Lindgren sits on the bench in a jersey. Dress him and don't play the same way they did it for Schneider. He might even play. Who knows? I mean, again, I'm taking him as day to day. So, Garrett, brother, how are you? Good evening. Frankie, time for Igor to get back to the way he played last season. Anthony, how are they going to keep Kane around next year? Do they have to? Do they have to? They don't have to. Yeah, and they could if he wants to take a sweetheart deal to play with his boy. You know. Sharon Rivera, I'm tired of hearing about 1940 and 1994. We're about to hear a present year. I can feel it. Let's go Rangers. Sharon, new name. Welcome to the show. Appreciate that. John, hoping you say that about Lindgren. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit, but he wasn't even in a sling after the game on Sunday. So, I mean, yeah, it looked bad. Oshie should have got a penalty for that. You know, I know he was mic'd up and felt bad about it, which is nice. That's great. Wonderful. But I think it looked worse than it really was, which can happen. I mean, look, Lindgren's a warrior, right? For sure. John has been a very vocal critic of this trade. I've interacted with John a couple spots. So, John, welcome. I know you've been on the show before. Has concern about injuries, playing with a short bench. John, I hear you, but I mean, how many we'll get to that. I don't want to necessarily get the cart ahead of the horse. Your concern is not invalid. It's a touch overcritical, in my opinion. It's not invalid. Somebody gets hurt. Yeah, what are you going to, right. You're not set up for that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I do feel, though, it is overcritical at this point. I think if that's your biggest problem, you're doing all right. But I want to talk about what Patrick Kane means to this team. Patrick Kane is going to have a profound impact on this team. A truly profound impact. First off, this trade has been rumored to happen for days, and we've been keeping tabs on it, and we knew it was coming. It was obvious what they were doing, but some people don't believe it till it's done. Okay, it got done today. Rangers Twitter at 8 o'clock said, Kane's here. People are talking about the top 6 with the addition of Patrick Kane. And it was mentioned, I apologize, the comment did come in. I'd be talking more about the top 9 personally, but whatever, it's fine. This top 6, with Mika and Trocheck down the middle, and Kreids and Panarin and Tarasenko, Patrick Kane on the wings. That is as deep and as good as a top 6 as there is in hockey. It's as deep and talented as a top 9 as there is in hockey. In my opinion, the Rangers have no holes on their roster. They don't. The 12 forwards and 6 defensemen, there are no holes. And I see people talking a lot about, they need to go get themselves a banger, and they need some grit, and they need some of this, and they need some of that. Okay, sure. I will go with you on that. And then I will ask you, okay, who are you getting rid of to fit this player or two. Clearly, nobody in the top 9, right? Not getting rid of the 6 names that I mentioned. You're not touching the kids. Okay. So nobody in the top 9. Okay, good. You want to get rid of Jimmy VC at $800,000? He's had a great year. Barclay Goodrow, Stanley Cup pedigree, 4th line center, wins faceoffs, takes a shot to the face. He don't care. You want to get rid of Barclay Goodrow? Okay, probably not. Right? Okay. Tyler Mott, you just got Tyler Mott. You complained all year about, we let go of Tyler Mott. Tyler Mott's back. So I just gave you their 12 forwards. So who is going to sit or be jettisoned somewhere to fit your desire for a gritty banger forward? It's numbers, guys. This is the roster, okay? So it's not anybody in the top 6. You're not touching the kids. You like your 4th line. There's no room. Okay, so we're good with the forwards. Okay, good. The defense. You want to get rid of Adam? We love Ryan Lindgren, so we're not touching him. I mean, even if you think Trouba's overpaid, and I'm in that club, frankly. I mean, he actually does knock somebody's block off on occasion. He is the captain of the team, so probably not him. Keandre might need to work on his aim with the spitting. You getting rid of Keandre Miller at this stage? Okay, sure. Okay, so Braden Schneider. Oh, the uproar people had when they thought, oh my God, they're sitting Braden Schneider. They're going to trade him. Oh my God, they're putting him in Hartford. They're going to trade him. I'm like, no, they're not. Okay. So we like Schneider. Okay. So we're left with Nico Mikkola. So now he's actually big. He might actually hit somebody. But that's your gripe? Is the left defenseman on the 3rd pair of the team the biggest gripe you have? If that's our biggest problem, we are in immaculate shape, kids. And that's where people lose me. Because you can say, they could use like this and some sandpaper and this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. Where? And in exchange for who? And the people are like, they got to trade Panarin. That's the most ridiculous thing. First of all, you can't. 2, you wouldn't. It just doesn't. I can't go with you on that. If you're going to tell me this is what the Rangers need, you better have a plan, A, how to acquire it, and B, where to put it. Because they need Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves can't make this roster. Who are you playing Ryan Reeves over Tyler Mott? No. Over Jimmy VC? No. So Ryan Reeves is dead weight at an expensive contract for what he was. So again, you can tell me what you think they need, and I might even agree with you. But you can't, there's a cap and a roster limit. You're not going to play 30 guys. So I would venture to say this Ranger team has no holes. Am I wrong? Tell me. I'll read the comments. Let's see. Ralph Dezaris says short bench is only temporary. Lance Mullins, newer name. Rangers loading up. Can they go deep? That's what I'm going to end the show with, brother. Stand around. Profound. It's my word of the day, John. I don't even have a calendar. I just think of words of the day that I like to use in things. That's the way that hit me. Shesterkin is the key. Yes. Tom Scavetta from our boys over at Review and Preview, as well as Hank and Dictor. I'm going to see you on Thursday. Again, love those guys. Follow Review and Preview. Follow Jim Schmiedeberg and Eddie Geik, Blue Shirt Underground. Follow Two Guys, One Cup, Ranger Broadcast, Sean and Rock. Follow Sean McCath. I mean, Rangers content everywhere. We love it. Love those guys. Peter, it's a valid point, but you have to do what the Rangers did. Don't you? Sure. Matthew Maneri, newer name. Honest question. As a Rangers fan, does it get bothersome seeing the team add big names either every offseason, every deadline, and not win the cup? Would you rather the team stand pat and develop, or do you like going for it despite 25 years of the same formula? So there's a lot to unpack there. So Does it get bothersome seeing the team add big names every offseason and not win the cup? I don't care what they do. Not winning the cup is bothersome. I am as big a proponent of anybody's. If you're not going to win, lose. One team wins. So last year, let's call it out. The Rangers won nothing. Was it a fun run? Yes. Did I enjoy being in the Garden for Game 7 for Brett to score that goal? Yes. Did I enjoy them coming back against Carolina? Yes. Was it fun seeing them lose 4-2 to Tampa Bay? Absolutely not. I'd much rather have a proctologist appointment every day. But one team wins. Where I'll disagree with you is they blew it up. In 2018, they sent a letter pretty much telling you, we're blowing it up. And we're going to send away people that it's going to be tough for you to see on other teams. But we're going to do that because we're really trying to build a Stanley Cup champion. So we're going to keep charging you exorbitant prices for tickets while you see a bunch of kids grow up. So we need you to be on board. And for the most part, we were. So respectfully to that comment, Matt, I was fully on board with the rebuild. And they've rebuilt. Look at this top 9. And adding big should they not have brought in Patrick Kane for the price they paid? Did they overpay for Vladimir Tarasenko? I don't think so. Not when you see what the Lightning just paid for Tanner Janot, or whatever you pronounce his stupid name. And what with all this trade comp going around, I mean, Rangers have a first-round pick in this draft. So the only thing that matters is winning the Stanley Cup every year. And if you're not positioned to do so, position yourself to do so. And the Rangers did that. And they are in the midst of a contending window now. The only outcome that matters is winning this. Second place doesn't matter to me. Go ask Eagle fans, who I hate, by the way. But go ask Eagle fans. They lost. Who cares? Losers. In hockey, there are 31 losers and one winner. If you're not the one winner, try building. But we'll talk about, the pros and cons of the actions. I'll put it to you that way. Probably, but we'll talk about it as far as, are the Rangers done? We'll talk about that. John, it's insane. I love it. Sad. Kane has a chip on his shoulder because of all the criticism he's gotten from some fans, major media from Toronto. Toronto criticizes everybody. Toronto's a bunch of losers. They have not gotten out of the first round since I was a sophomore in college. I turned 39 in a week. Jimmy, this may be the best I've seen the team look in a very long time. We're going to talk about that. Igor, newish name. I apologize, I don't recognize the name, but welcome to the show. Swinging for the fences, and why not? We're not a loaded team that's ready to win the cup, and since we didn't give up anything, why not swing for the fence if we can? What is the alternative? First round, second round versus a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup. Igor, I am on record. I do not need cosmetic playoff appearances. So when the Rangers decided to blow it up, I was the conductor of that train. I do not need you to be a wild card to get in, to lose in the first round, maybe the second round. Either you're good enough to win or you're not. I don't need cosmetic playoff appearances. I need championships. I've seen one in my life. And frankly, I'm luckier than most. So I agree with you. If you have a shot, take it. Now, if you don't, there's no need to overdo, to just try to get in. But if you have a team that can do it, you're a fool not to give that team every advantage it possibly could get. Matt Fops, a Ranger Blue Shirt Nation, great group. Check that group out. I'm one of the members there. Can Drew get GM of the Year votes this season? Tell you what, very aggressive, to quote Teddy KGB. Who do you disagree with? What movie disagree with? I mean, really, since Buchnevich, what's been bad? I'm a fan. It's doing great. Frankie, East, really competitive, 100 times stronger than the West. Yeah. Best 6 teams in hockey are the best 6 teams in the East. Awesome. Cool. It's great. Ray, yeah. If there's someone to move, how are they going to do it with the cap? Exactly. You got no roster spot, no cap space. What are you going to do? Not going to do anything. Go with the team you got. We don't need anything. Bring up Othman. Okay, Anthony. I'll go with you on that. Where is he going to play? He's not going to play on the fourth line, which means you got to replace a winger in the top 9. Who sits for Othman? Just saying. Ralph, no other player to get. Let's go mesh. I agree. My brother Terry up in Seattle. What's up, brother? How are you? Love the profile pic. Looking good. Great day in Rangerland today. Reese was too slow. Reese was bad at hockey. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, do you see guys aren't running the Rangers? I mean, that whole Tom Wilson thing was just so overblown. And that's all we heard about for weeks. John, team is so deep. Everyone begging for Mott back. We have him and Tarasenko. John, 100% agree with you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Bob, playoff experience with this year where this team's also almost unmatched. Now, again, this team, as young as it is in certain spots, they made a run last year. So they're not going to get caught wide-eyed making a run this year, in my opinion. So I think that although last year did not end with anything successful, it was somewhat productive in that you got playoff experience for the Lafrenières and the Hedels and the Kakos and the Foxes of the world, so that and the Millers and the Igors, so that it's not going to be this thing this year. A lot of comments coming in. Jimmy, you know my truths. Trying to think here. Joe Polito, stay healthy and go for it. Does this give you Messier trade vibes? Igor, I see the correlation. I think it was a different moment and a different time. I'm not there yet. I could get there, but I'm not there yet. I'll put it to you that way. Peter, I want to look at my team, be able to say we have the pieces to contend for the cup for the next 5 years. So I'm tweaking every trade deadline. And I think that they're in their window. Do I think it's 5 years, Peter? I'm not sure about that. I think the salary cap's going to be a bitch. But I do think they're in the midst of a 2 to 3 year window right now. And I think that they are correct in going for it. But continuing on Kane, the biggest impact that I think someone like Kane has on this team is that he is just going to completely change Artemi Panarin. The chemistry that they had in Chicago, and how stupid was Chicago for trading Panarin because they thought they couldn't sign him. You go look at the YouTube clips. I mean, Showtime, that's about right for what that was. And you bring in a guy like Patrick Kane, Stanley Cup pedigree. You did that with Tarasenko as well, and now Kane. These are two guys that know what it takes to win and have won. Elite pedigree. Sure doesn't hurt that when you ask Capo Caco and Alexis Lafreniere who their favorite player growing up was, it was Patrick Kane. It's going to get these guys playing at a different level. And for the chance to win with Kane on the roster, your idol, it's priceless. I'm really expecting that to show. Kind of really wanting to do everything you can to get your idol another ring. That is an understated part of all of this, is just the butterfly effect of what he does. I'm not even talking about lines. I'm just talking about getting Artemi to be his best, getting the best out of everyone. And it shows to me that the front office believes in them. The front office believes this team has a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup. And if they didn't, they would not have gone out and made the additions that they made. They brought in 4 players that they think they can help the team. Chris Drury has done everything realistically possible. And frankly, as we found out today, things that probably should not have been able to happen, but did. No matter what happens this year, you cannot possibly ask any more of this front office. They have done everything while at the same time doing nothing to their long-term trajectory of their kids. It is up to the players now. And I see people talking about, oh, they're not going to get out of the first round and this and that. Okay, you may not think the Rangers have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. You know who does think the Rangers have a chance to win the Stanley Cup? Patrick Kane, because he wanted to come here. Artemi Panarin wanted to come here. Jacob Trouba wanted to come here. Adam Fox wanted to come here. Vincent Trocheck wanted to come here. Vladimir Tarasenko wanted to come here, and Patrick Kane wanted to come here. The Rangers, for the longest time, through my youth, through most of what you guys will remember, were a destination for all the wrong reasons. Now they're a destination for all the right ones. And I don't think that you can realistically point to anything and say the Rangers didn't do that and they should have done that. I think this front office has done everything possible to put this team in as best a position to win. Now it's up to the players to do their jobs. And the irony of this whole thing, and you look at what transpired with Kane, and you can look at it in one of two ways. Before I do that, I know I got comments coming in, so I do want to touch on that. Let's see. Igor beat me to it. I'm 28. I was going to ask how it felt when the Rangers got Messier. So to admit to this, Jay, they got Messier in 1991. I was only 7, and it was kind of in my infancy of the team. But my dad explained to me, this who he was and what he was and what it meant, and that it had the chance to really be impactful. And clearly, we know it was. Xavier says, totally different from the Mess trade. Mess coming off a broken leg, requested a trade to New York. They gave up at that time a lot, which in retrospect, Sav, not really. Bernie Nichols is Bernie Nichols, but Stephen Rice, Louis DeBrusk never really panned out. So I agree. It looked like a lot at the time. I think what the Rangers gave for Pavel Bure looked like a lot at the time, but in retrospect, wasn't really that much. Joe Garcia, Drury did a great job. Now it's time for the players to get it on the ice. Absolutely. Charlie Troy, new name. Welcome to the show, sir. Give us a like. We appreciate that. Now they have the top guys that have been to the dance and got the girl to lead our young group to the promised land. The leadership aspect is key. So much is made, and this comes up a lot. Oh, Lafreniere and Kakko, they're not doing what Stutzel's doing, this, that, and third. Stutzel's getting top 6 minutes on a bad team. Getting power play time. It's not what's happening with Lafreniere and with Kakko. Johnny, what are the chances Patrick Kane takes a Krejci type deal next year? I don't know. I think it's possible. I'm not going to give him $8 million if he wants to come back for 2.5 because he wants to play with Panarin. That's impactful. I can get along. I can get down with that. They got holes at right wing longer term. Ray, I hate this playoff format. Can we go back to 1-8? I agree with you, except that right now in the Eastern Conference, exactly what it is would be 1-8. As crazy as that sounds, it's exactly what it would fall out to be. I agree. 1-8's better, no question. But right now, how it currently is exactly how it would be if it were 1-8. Brett, there will be no what ifs after this season. Igor, I've never seen a front office get so much for so little. Absolutely. Terry, great deal. Bob, has Chris Drury trumped Jeff Gorton with the moves he has just completed? So to that point, Jeff Gorton had a masterful trade for Mika Zibanejad. Some of the best things that Jeff Gorton did, my son could have done. Ping pong balls make great general managers. Kakko and Lafreniere were the result of ping pong balls. Panarin wanted to come here. Fox wanted to come here. So at the end of the day, am I taking shots at Jeff Gorton? No. Do I think he's slightly overrated in a way? Because like I said, the best 5 things he did, Braden, who's 5, could have done. Ping pong balls and giving guys money that they ask for. Even he says it was his job not to screw it up. So I don't know. From an activity standpoint, I mean, not a lot that I can disagree with. I mean, look, the Buchnevich trade is what it is. Is what it is. But revisionist history. Anyway, so back to this. I think that you can look at this whole thing with Patrick Kane one of two ways. The Rangers may have identified Vladimir Tarasenko as the piece that they wanted, and that the price that St. Louis was asking for was right for them, and they made the move. And at that point, the door for Kane had closed. So there was no cap room, there's no roster room, nothing they'd trade that Chicago would want. Can I give you another option, though? Here's another way to look at it. Chris Drury might have played an ultimate game of 3D chess here. For those of you who are Star Wars inclined, a Jedi mind trick. Follow me here. Did Chris Drury make the trade for Tarasenko as early as he did in February, knowing it would send Patrick Kane over the edge? Everybody knew Kane wanted to be a Ranger, wanted to come here, wanted to play with Panarin, all that. And you saw him after the Tarasenko trade broke, he said, loosely quoting, well, it's not the happiest I've ever been to see a trade, because he knew that this was a spot he was looking at, potentially a landing spot for him. And now that the Rangers had made this move, that probably wasn't going to happen. Where are they going to put him? Did that make Kane barge into Kyle Davidson's office in Chicago and just say, quote unquote, get me to New York. I don't care how you do it. I'm going nowhere else, given the fact he has no movement clause? Is it possible, however unlikely, that this was just a master stroke of a mind game played by Chris Drury to drive Kane crazy to the point where his cost would get low enough that the Rangers could bring him in for next to nothing? We've said on this show for months that if Kane were to come here, the trade comp would be underwhelming for Chicago, because if Kane says it's New York or nowhere, what leverage does Chicago have? We laughed at people who said, oh, it's going to be Kakko or Lafreniere or Brendan Othman or all three of the above, or whoever else they came up with. Why would it have been? The Rangers didn't have to get Patrick Kane. Chicago had to move him, and they had to keep him happy. Chicago wanted to do right by the guy who delivered them 3 Stanley Cups. This is not a new thing. If you watch the show, I know a lot of you do. We've been saying this since the fall. It took an extremely winding road that nobody expected, but that's exactly how it ended up. In this poker game, Chris Drury held the cards the whole time, or at least he appeared to. Did he bluff? Maybe. Did it work? Yes. Chicago folded. Masterful work by Chris Drury. So, however it happened, okay? If you told me, if you put the Tarasenko and Kane deals together and say we traded that for Kane, I'd have been like, okay. 1, conditional 1, Blay, D prospect, couple low picks. Okay. And I don't think anybody would say, wow, you overpaid. They got Kane, Tarasenko, and Mikkola for that. Masterful work. How you cut it. Hey, look, am I giving you a scenario that didn't happen? Yeah, probably. Can you rule it out, though? The way it turned out? Love it. Comments coming in. It's unlikely. Okay. Hey, listen, I'm going to disagree with you, John. But think about that. How did we get Zach? They gave him Zach Jones. I was of the mindset, yeah, sure, take him. Okay. Didn't even give up Zach Jones. It's amazing how they got this done. Amazing. Justin, who's getting an 88 jersey? Now, I am not, and I will tell you why. I have a pretty hard rule that I only get jerseys of players who are homegrown. That includes Foxy, because Foxy never played anywhere else. So the current team's jerseys that I have, and I have 65 Rangers jerseys, and it's ridiculous, and my wife will tell you I waste money, and it is what it is. Currently, I have 3 Laffies, 3 Foxes, about to be 4. You know, the white, blue, retro, and the Liberty, the new one. 2 Shesties, 2 Kakos. I say Kako. A couple Kreiders, which I've had forever. Like I would not get a Zibanejad. I love Mika Zibanejad. Mika Zibanejad was an Ottawa Senator at first. These are just me. You know. Now again, they become all-time greats. I have many Mark Messiers. Mark Messier obviously was an Edmonton Oiler. I have a couple Adam Graves. Love Adam Graves. My all-time favorite player. Leach and Richter, of course, were homegrown. So, you know. Just me. Like, I'll get a Kane t-shirt all day. I'll get him every color he got, but I wouldn't get a jersey personally. John, you get a franchise 3 cups to get whatever they want. Yep. Ray, I agree with you. But everybody knew they were there. Use them to your advantage. Mike, I think it's likely. Chris Drury knew what he was doing. It was remarkable. Yeah, it was. It just masterful job. Masterful job. Matt, you have a Lundqvist jersey? I have many. I have it in white. I have it in blue. I have it in Heritage. I have it in Winter Classic. Bunch of them. I have way too many. It is what it is. Igor, get Mika. He's grown here. Look, I love the band. I have the t-shirt in every color. I have it with the Navy Liberty and the Blue Liberty. I just have a thing about jerseys. It's just me. I only go for the homegrown talent. I'm not saying everybody else should like do that too. It's just me. Like I have so many that it's like I don't, you know, never got a craft stuff. Okay, give me some credit there. I never got a craft stuff. I kind of knew. Now, if K'Andre Miller signs a deal, yes, that would be one I would like to get. The kid's great. They're going to be great. Braden Schneider, maybe. Give me an Hoffman, maybe. Just me. It's just the way I view things. I don't want to press that view on everybody else. Just the way I look at it. John Matfield, getting Tarasenko first and waiting it out for Kane with genius on Drury's part. That's all I'm saying. Like, did he know? Now you could say, well, Brian, I mean, he could have been, getting cap space for Mikkola retained and everything else, but you couldn't make it obvious. Like once it got to a point where the Rangers found a path and it worked. So I will not ask Miller to spit on my jersey now. Excellent point. Boss move. Made Kane cry, forced him to go to management. Yeah. I mean, look, is it I'm just saying there's an element of it. That's all. I think in his mind, he's like, you know what? If I get Tarasenko first, let's see what else happens with Patty Kane. Worked out great. Whether he was part of the plan or whether he wasn't, it's here now. So plans change. Frankie, trademark. Are the Rangers done? Yeah, they're out of money. They're out of money. I mean, I can't foresee them with doing anything else. I take Gallant at face value, and I mentioned this earlier that, he said Lindgren's day-to-day. Let's go with that. End of the day, they are basically locked into, for the most part, a first-round matchup with New Jersey. I don't think it changes. They don't really need to be, gung-ho here. March and April, to me, as the calendar flips at midnight, should be about bringing Kane in, acclimating Tarasenko, getting people healthy. They're not in a playoff race in that they're in any real danger of missing the playoffs. So, right now, I just think that the games matter, but they don't. What matters is how they're playing. If they're playing well and losing, I'm not upset. I don't think they're going to move up or down. I think this is who they're playing in the first round. For better or for worse, this is their matchup. Don't sleep on Drury. $1,600. Wow. What could we get with that? I mean, Tally Crasso. Tom Sanderson. Drury played the market, getting tank, killed the man, lowered the price for Kane. Yep. Listen, whatever it did, worked great. Do it again. Do it every year. Do it great. So I do want all of your thoughts on this. I ran this poll earlier today on the BlueTruth page, and I just want to go quickly and check the results of that. Okay. Is this Rangers team the best Rangers team since the hallowed year of 1994? There have been 228 votes. 204 of them are yes. That is an 89.4%. We'll call it 90%. 90% people on the poll think that this Rangers team is the best Rangers team since 1994. And let's just think back, right? Take a little trip down memory lane. You think back to the teams in 1996 and 1997, the ones that were kind of running on the fumes of 94. You remember the 96 team that lost the first two to Montreal, won the next four, got swept by the Flyers. The 97 run to the conference finals, with Gretzky and Messier, that also lost to the Flyers, which sucks. And then the dark times. Didn't make the playoffs again until after the second lockout, and one of the first one. I don't know. They locked up too many times. 2006, either way. They got back into the playoffs that year. That was the Jaromir Jagr, Marty Straka, William Nylander team. And then there was this Swedish kid in net, kind of just showed up out of nowhere. He was all right, right? 07, 08, you get the Drury and Gomez bunch, who I feel to this day really underachieved quite a bit. Didn't really help. They had number 6 as a huge anchor at $6.5 million on their defense. Suck, Wade Red. The 2012 team, the black and blue shirts, they were the ones who would block a shot from a cannon, but they couldn't score in a brothel with a fistful of hundreds. It just wasn't them. I remember those days when they went down 1-0, you thought it was over. The one that, despite being the top seed in the East, they were down 3-2 to the 8-seeded Ottawa Senators, came back to win that. They were down to Washington 3-1, found a way. Couldn't get by the Devils. Henrique. Broke my heart. The Cup Finals run in 14, the Rick Nash years with Zuccarello, Derek Brassard, the 15 team that let us down in the conference finals, losing to Tampa the day that I bought my house. If you watch the commercial. Fast forwards us to last year's team. Kind of came out of nowhere. Made a long run, and here we are. I want to hear from you. Is the current Rangers roster, top to bottom, the best that they've had since they won it all? Let's see. John says yes. Talent-wise, says I've never seen any team since. Garrett says talent-wise, yes. Need to see how they mesh. Dave Christman says 2014, the only one that was close. John says Abore and Lindros are healthy to win the Cup, but they were so done. Well, yeah, they were shells of themselves by the time they came here, which, again, people used to come here for all the wrong reasons. Al Rastelli, brother, how are you? My opinion, can't do a poll like that until this team wins the Cup. Well, to be fair, Al, those teams didn't either. After 94, none of those teams won the Stanley Cup. So, I mean, it's easy to say in revisionist history, oh, this team wins. Yeah, absolutely. But right now, we don't know that they're Schrodinger's cat. We don't know if they're alive or dead in the box. They're going to win or not. But curious to see where people kind of think about this team. Igor says roster, no doubt. Andre, new name, not as tough. I think it's 4 more goals, though. Michael says yes. Sharon Rivera, exactly, feel the same way. Bill Gorman on paper, yes. Brian Winnis says yes. Justin says, I have to say yes. Wish we gave Hank a team this talented. Yep. Alice is only talking about 94. Well, I'm for the purpose of the poll, Al, I'm saying since 94. So exclude that team. Since Messier hung it up, every team since. Is this group the best since 95, if you will? David Voorhees, if this team was the West, they could definitely make the finals. Well, they could make the finals in the East, too. We'll talk about that. Victor says roster-wise, absolutely. But just an interesting sidebar. Because everyone's talking about, oh, Golden State Rangers, super team. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy where it could go. Let's enjoy where it could go. Line combinations. This is my first take at what I think the lines are going to look like. And listen, this is the chess pieces. You can really move these around. First line, I think, is going to end up being Kreider, Zibanejad, and Tarasenko. When I look at this, Zibanejad and Kreider really work well together. They have for a very long time. I think that Tarasenko's tried to do a little bit too much lately. I think if he plays the Vetrano role, just shoots, I think that that's what this line could use. Shoot first mentality. Zibby and Kreider sometimes try to be a little too cute. Tarasenko, I think, as a shooter, plays well on that line. Second line, Panarin and Kane, obviously, and Vincent Trocheck by default end up on the second line together. And again, you're bringing the two guys together. Trocheck can distribute. Panarin and Kane know each other very, 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 very well. That should be fine for the second line. Third line, easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's the kids. They go together. But the best part about getting Kane also is that it puts your fourth line correctly allocated, because now Tyler Mott and Goodrow together, defensive guys. VC's had a really, really good year. Not a top six forward. It's a very, very good fourth line. That's your 12. Defense, no change. Lindgren and Fox, Miller, Trouba, Mikkola, Schneider, assuming everybody is healthy. Comments. Pressure is now off Tarasenko. Garrett says, who's considered first or second doesn't really matter. Look at the same playing time. Yes, I agree. It's 1A, 1B for these purposes. And boy, it looked good. It looks good. Big fan. Igor, 94 team was the best team we've had. They were the best team in the league by far. They were taken to 7 by a young Devils team, the Canucks. So win the Cup's extremely difficult. You need so much to go your way. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm going to get to that, like, you know, what this team can now do. Roster, I just think top to bottom is as solid as I've seen it. Nothing pops. I mean, every team you look at it like, you know, there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole. Great point, Charlie. 7-game series have killed us in the past, and they have. True. Agree on the lines. Thank you, Mike. And John, who was on the power play, that's coming up next, brother. So, obviously, Kane and Panarin on the power play unit. Zibanejad, Kreider with Foxy. It's very simple. And then that drops Tarasenko to your second unit with Trocheck and Hedl and Kakko. And I guess Trouba. You need a defenseman there. Somebody asked, they're like, oh, what about Lafreniere? Well, when you have 9 forwards this deep, there's only 8 spots, right? On the 2 units, 4 forwards and a defenseman. The nature of it. What I would like to think, maybe it's wishful thinking, what I would like to think is if someone like Tarasenko's on that second power play unit, maybe it's not a minute 20 for the first unit. Maybe it's a little more balanced. I would like to see that. I think, if they're maintaining play, I get it. They get a couple clears, change it up, keep it fresh. I mean, again, but you need to put your best guys together, in my opinion. I wouldn't go 5 forwards, Andrew. I mean, well, first of all, I guess theoretically you could on the second pair, but Foxy's too good. I guess if you're asking me, do you go Trouba or Lafreniere? See, but Trouba's got that cannon from the point. I think that that's helpful. So I think just Laffy's the odd man out. It is what it is. You got a lot of good players. It's a good problem to have. We'll get over it. Kid's a kid. Tom question. Maybe who's our 13th, 14th player? I don't think they have one right now. I think Harper's probably a really good 7th defenseman. For the forwards, I don't think they have a safety net right now. Ryan Carpenter, I guess. I mean, I don't really think that they, again, in the playoffs, there's no cap. Just get there. They're not in danger of missing the playoffs. They're probably going to play New Jersey anyway. I think they'll be all right. Dave says, let's not forget we had no captain for a while. No captain who holds the cup. Bad juju for years, now gone. Yes and no. I wouldn't have rushed it. I think it's fine. I also think the last 2 captains have been traded, so Jacob Trouba might be on borrowed time. We'll see. Garrett, GG with the surrogate power play units until the chemistry works. Laugh, you get a chance if it doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, you'll see guys on and off that in that spot. Carpenter and Cooley, yeah. I don't know. I guess Cooley's in Hartford. Yeah, I mean, again, it just depends on that fourth line because it means bottom sixer, obviously, bottom fourth line player on this team for sure. Alex, how we face the Devils? Let's get there first. A lot's been made of the Devils' speed. I agree, it's a problem. We have a major advantage in goal and a major advantage with experience. Let's not. It's February 28th. There's going to be a lot of time to dissect that. We'll see who's even healthy at that point. It's probably going to be New Jersey, and it's nice to have a bunch of home games because they're all going to be home games. Did Miller spit on purpose? I mean, I think he probably needs to work on his aim. If I were going to spit on somebody, I would rock my head back and really angle it, really give it some oomph. I didn't see that. It's tough. Look, whatever. The suspension was always going to happen. It is what it is. He talked to Doughty. Everybody's fine. We'll move past it. All good. Not worried about it. You all asked, so I'll give you my take. How far can these Rangers go? The reality of it is they can go as far today as they could have gone yesterday in December and the start of the season before they filled these holes. It's going to come down at the end of the day, as it always does in New York, to goaltending and Igor Shesterkin. It always was going to. Are they a more talented team than last year? I'd be hard-pressed to say no, man. This is a very, very, very deep team. Bringing in guys like Tarasenko and Kane just really allow you to do something. I mean, you can mix and match those guys in the top six. I mean, you really can. I mean, you could take any three of them and make a first line. Like, that's how good that top six is. And it allows you to correctly set VC on the fourth line, which really strengthens your fourth line. It's a team that, at least it's on paper, looks like it deserves to be called a contender. But, there's always a but, let's be real. The East is a war. If you take out the division leaders in Carolina and Boston, and you assume that they're going to win their series because they will, two of the Rangers, the Devils, the Lightning, and the Maple Leafs will not get out of round one. Sick. As good as the Rangers are, and as good as I think we all think they can be, there is certainly a legitimate shot that they don't get out of round one. They almost lost in round one last year. That doesn't mean that Drury was wrong to be aggressive as he's been. And again, they really haven't given up that much. They were right to be aggressive. Jersey was aggressive. Tampa was aggressive. Toronto was aggressive. Boston was aggressive. I'm sure Carolina will do something before Friday. They can be out in round one or they can win the whole goddamn thing. It's the reality of it. This year, April and May and hopefully June are just going to be this massive continuation of stress and nausea. Playoff hockey. It is not going to be easy. But the Rangers can win the Stanley Cup. The Rangers can also lose in round one. That's hockey. They have a shot. It's going to be a very tough road. Conceivably, it's New Jersey, Carolina, Boston, Colorado. Whoever comes out of the West. It's a tough road. And I think back to coming out of last year, like, what were my biggest concerns? Like, you played 7-game series, first two rounds. It's hard. I mean, if it might take that to get past Jersey and Carolina. It might. Good teams. I think the Rangers are better than the Devils. Now, especially. I think the world of Carolina, but they beat them last year. They've played them well since. Boston's Boston. Who would you rather play? I mean, think about it. Toronto hasn't gotten out of the first round since I was a sophomore in college. I'm turning 39 in a week. Tampa, always been their bugaboo. Can't get through them, but they're not the same team. Boston looks really scary, but that's what it is. So I think that their potential to win and potential to lose has not really changed with this. As crazy as that sounds, I think they could have won it before they got these two guys. I think they could still lose in round one with them. They're a very good team, though. So the shot is there. That's hockey. Comments coming in. They can go as far as Igor takes them. If he turns it around, they are contenders for the Stanley Cup. Like I've seen, less talented teams have won the Cup. Yep. Matt Fops, I hope I pronounced that right, by the way. It all depends how hungry the Blue Shirts team plays in the playoffs. If they play to the point they want the Cup, they can do it. Andre, let's go. Igor comments on Keandre Miller. I mean, I think it is what it is. It's just going to move past it. Sal says, you're just being honest. All we could do is hope for the best. Well, Sal, I mean, if it's one thing about me, I don't cheerlead. Don't get me wrong. I love this team to my core. There's very little in this world I hold above it, but I've always believed, just because a player is on your team does not make them good. They are what they are. Your team is what it is, and you have to be. I mean, look, you're going to root for them, but I think most of the time we know. I mean, last year, I don't think anybody was like, coming into the playoffs, well, they can win the whole thing. You look at Carolina's tough, and then you start thinking about it, and then I mean, in '94 they were the lead horse going in. The 2012 team also was lead horse, barely got there. Alex, Boston's a team to beat. John agrees. Victor says Canes were embarrassed last year. Have to do it again. And we're gonna see them again. They're a really good team. They're a really, really good team. John's got a hundo. John's got a Benny on the Rangers taking it. I mean, I hope you win, man. Al, Tampa's still a team to beat in my mind. Best goalie next to Igor in the league, in my opinion. They're all good teams, Al. I mean, I think that the way this road's gonna go, like, you're not going to get a 6-0, 6-0, 5-1, 5-2 first round sweep like you did in 94. You're not going to catch a 5-game series with the Caps like you did in 94. You're not going to have an easy road to get to what could be a war in the third round because you're going to get through 2 wars to get there. It's a lot. They can do it. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, they're going to win the whole thing. I'm not saying that. I am saying that they can. And that didn't change in the past 24 hours or the past month. They could have before Tarasenko and Kane. They sure help. But the teams, it is going to come down to their goaltending. But how many teams can boast this top 6, a Norris Trophy winning defenseman, and a Vezina winning goaltender? I mean, this is not me with the pom-poms. I don't do that. Try not to. It's a good team, though. Wrap up. Thank you all for watching. This, again, it was not a planned show, but, I try to do shows every when there's things going on, I try to at least do one a month. I mean, the season's long. We do a little more as it gets closer and closer to playoffs, but how could we not talk about this today? I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'm going to the game Thursday, so obviously I wasn't going to do it then. I'm glad the news broke today. Patty Kane's a Ranger, and that's wild to me. Didn't think that was possible. I didn't think they're going to find a way. And credit to Chris Drury. They did. I also want to thank everybody who follows the Facebook page. It's ballooned. I think in the past, probably since the Tarasenko deal, we've gone from 1,600 to followers to over 2,300. Awesome. I love you guys. I can't tell you how much your interaction makes this for me. I am here by myself talking into a microphone. It's harder than it looks. But when I'm talking to you guys about this topic that we all love and cherish, and it's what bonds us together, I've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes, and it's felt like 5 because we love it. I wouldn't say it's work by any means, but I'm not getting paid for it clearly. But my point is that This is great. We love this team. Super exciting day. And you start to imagine what could be. And I was the first person when I envision it, I tear up. I tear up thinking about what could be. And I'm not saying you're saying it's going to happen, but boy, would it be a great. I would probably, I mean, you could take me up to heaven a week later. I'd be fine. They have a shot, guys. This is a very, 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 very good team. They got a shot. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, like the show, like the page. It's awesome. I appreciate that. If you're watching the YouTube replay, subscribe on YouTube, but also come back, check out the Twitter and the Facebook. And I'll probably make an Instagram at some point. Just haven't gotten around to it. But again, I want to thank you all so much for your interaction. This is what makes it fun, is talking about this all with you guys. And again, a couple comments coming in. Tom, first time I caught your show. Good job, Tom. Thank you. Thank you for interacting. I appreciate that. Mike, enjoy the game Thursday. My son will be there. Hey, when are you coming back? John, good show. Let's go Rangers. Thank you, John. John as well. Pleasure talking to you. Absolutely. Thank you. Andy, great job. Al, thank you. Garrett, thank you. Alex, thank you. Do you? No, I don't want to. Not John. No. I do fine. Don't worry about that. This is a labor of love, and it is. We love this team. We love it. What else can you say? Dave says, excited. You're obviously a super fan. Now, Dave, you're a newer name. This is not this is not for me to boast, but you may have seen my face before. And you're probably like, where the hell have I seen that guy's face before? Well, if you watch MSG Network, you've seen my face before. And I'm going to show you where you've seen my face before. So we closed on our house the day of Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I always joke with my wife that buying a house was the second most important thing going on that day. I think every third thought in my mind is about the team. I can't turn it off. My Ranger Man Cave was a project that I've always wanted to do when I finally got a house. Most wives would not sign up for that. If you remember, why you like the teams that you do, it's probably some of your first emotional attachments that you make when you're a kid. I can't wait to share that with him. When we can enjoy it together, it'll be the greatest thing. Little guy just turned 5. That's how long ago that was. They still air it. I was watching we were off for, Martin Luther King. I was off for a holiday. President's Day, whatever. And they were showing the replay of the Oilers game, and I just kept watching it for whatever reason. And they aired it. So it's nice that they still air it. I've been at the Garden where they've aired it on Garden Vision, which is cool. Are you that guy? I'm like, yeah, which is cool. I mean, no, they did not pay me for that. Everybody asked me. No, I don't care. It's not. They found me. I'm like, you want to come down to Hamilton, New Jersey? 2-hour drive from New York? Yeah, absolutely. I knew it was coming. No, $0. And I don't care. It's not why. At the end of the day, I have this video I'll have forever. It's on YouTube. It's Showed on MSG Network with my son when he's not even a year old. And that's kind of what I'm known for. And again, I've met other really cool Ranger super fans and talked about their rooms and stuff. And again, I always say my wife can't really be mad because it came out so good, and she kind of helped me with the design and everything. And again, it's an awesome place to watch a game. It's a great entertainment space, and I sure hope that I can have some. I mean, I know I'm in the middle of Flyers country, but at the end of the day, I do have Ranger fans in the area. My dad and some friends that have kind of become Ranger fans probably due to my influence. Take that. So it's okay. We got a little contingent down here. It's not, New York, but I mean, I go as much as I can. I'll be up there Thursday. I'll be at the game tomorrow in Philly because it's only a half hour from here. Gareth said, my wife would have divorced me. Wait, she did divorce me. Igor says, yeah, that's, right? Yeah, that happens. I don't play it for my own. I mean, it's on TV, but it's nice. Appreciate that. John, Ranger, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you coming on. You're like, go at 8:00. I'm like, I can't. I said I was going on at 10. I can't let the people down. But anyway, Dave Christian, Atlantic County. That's where I'm from, Dave. I'm in Hamilton. Blueberry capital of the world. If you're buying blueberries and they're not from Hamilton, throw them the hell out and get better ones. But yes, I'm born and raised South Jersey. My dad was a Ranger fan, and clearly I took it to the nth degree, to a degree he never even. You're down the street from me. If you ever go to tailgaters, Ari is the man. Ari's a Ranger fan too. Ari's fantastic. Tom says, "You think you got it bad?" Yes, Spokane, Washington. Hey, Terry's up in Washington. I think he's in Seattle. So hook up with Terry Economides. Brian Miller, good job, BlueTruth. You've been calling this for a while. Thank you. It was just my read on it. Like I said, I looked at it from the standpoint of, why the hell is everybody going to pay a guy if he only wants to come here? If that's what he wants to come here. Great. But here's our price. We'll give you something. We're not jerk offs. We'll give you something. We're not going to give you all this. It doesn't work that way. Yep. I didn't see it. It just never made sense that it would have to do that. We're not run by idiots. Sometimes, not right now, not currently. But anyway, again, guys, thank you for watching. Great, awesome, wonderful day in Rangerland. We've been waiting a week for this. People didn't believe. I'm like, oh, it's going to happen. You can see it coming. They had to wait until the cap numbers worked out. We all learned way too much about the machinations of the salary cap. I love that stuff. So it's different for me. For most people, couldn't care less. Like, just get the deal done. I'm like, they are. It's coming. Oh, but anyway, yes. Great day. Let's see what they do. Look, they struggled for a couple games. Don't overreact. This stuff doesn't matter. The playoffs matter. None of this year was ever going to matter for this team. It was always going to be whatever they did in April and May and June. So don't freak out. I know we do all the time, but don't. Level head. You're part of the BlueTruth Nation now. Level head, right? So anyway, on behalf of the show, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you so much for taking the time. Let's go Rangers. Patty Kane's a Ranger. Tarasenko's a Ranger. Let's go win this thing. We'll see you next time.